JSON is one of those words you hear almost every single day in corporate IT. People say things like API returns JSON, check the JSON payload, or update the JSON config. Most of the time, people just nod and move on. In this video, we are going to slow down and really understand what JSON is, why companies use it everywhere, and why it's become the default language for data exchange in modern software systems. When I was a fresher, I'll be honest, I heard JSON in meetings and stand ups and just nodded like I understood while secretly thinking, what the hell is this and why is everyone so calm about it? But once I understood how JSON actually works, it stopped feeling scary and started making a lot of sense. It suddenly feels logical, clean, and honestly kind of satisfying. And if you work in IT or even around IT, understanding JSON properly is non negotiable. In day-to-day corporate life, you'll encounter JSON everywhere. Backend teams talk about JSON responses, front-end teams consume JSON data, and DevOps team configure tools using it. Even your logs and cloud services exchange data in JSON. So JSON is not a niche technical thing. It sits right at the center of how corporate systems communicate. But to understand why, we have to look at the real problem it was built to solve. In any company, you never have one system. You have web applications, you have mobile apps, you have backend services, all built using different languages like Java, Python, or Go. The big question is, how do all these systems exchange data in common way? Imagine a French speaker, a Japanese speaker, and a Spanish speaker trying to run a business together. Without a common language, everything collapses, and JSON exists to be that one particular common language. It can be considered like an English of the tech world, allowing every system to understand exactly what the others are saying. Now, how do these systems exchange data reliably? You just can't send Java object directly to a Python service, right? They don't speak the same language. And that's why you need a common agreed upon format, and that's where JSON comes in. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, but despite the name, it isn't limited to JavaScript. It is language independent, text-based data format. Any programming language can read and produce it. Think of JSON as a universal data language that all systems agree to speak so that nothing gets lost in translation. And at its core, JSON is extremely simple. It is built using key value pairs. On the left, you have keys, which are always strings. On the right, you have values, which can be text, numbers, booleans, or even JSON. Because of this simplicity, it is easy for machines to parse and just as importantly, easy for humans to read. It's simple, readable, and structured. That's why companies love it. But to keep it this clean, JSON follows a very strict set of rules regarding data. JSON supports only a small controlled set of data types. The limitation is intentional, and fewer data types mean fewer misunderstandings between systems. And every system knows exactly how to interpret a boolean or a string, right? And this predictability is why JSON works so well at large scale in large companies, where even small data errors can cause massive crashes. But it's not just simple lists, it can handle the most complex corporate data. In real applications, JSON is almost always nested. Objects inside objects, arrays inside objects. This allows JSON to represent real world entities like employees, orders, and payments. An employee can have an ID, a name, and a list of skills. And this particular structure that JSON has maps very naturally to how companies think about data. And because it's so organized, it's become the primary way we move data between teams. And the most important and most common place you will encounter JSON is in APIs, where a front end calls a backend, it sends a JSON as a request and receives JSON as a response. In this sense, JSON acts like a contract between teams, and backend team says like, if you send me data in this JSON structure, I promise to respond with the same data structure. And this contract allows teams to work independently without breaking each other's systems, which is one of the several reasons why it is corporate favorite. And companies prefer JSON because it is lightweight, easy for machines to parse, and still readable by humans. Debugging production issues becomes much easier when you can actually read the data flowing through the systems in the middle of the night. You might wonder how this compares to what we used before JSON took over the world. Before JSON, formats like XML were popular, but they were verbose and hard to read. CSV files were simple, but they lacked the structure and nesting needed for complex logic. JSON sits in the sweet Goldilocks zone, structured enough for machines, yet simple enough for humans. But even though it's popular, there are still some major myths about what it actually is. And one common misconception is that JSON is a database. It's not, it's just a data format. Another myth is that it is only used in front end. In reality, backend systems and DevOps tools use it heavily. And finally, JSON is not JavaScript. It originated there, sure, but today it belongs to everyone. Understanding these distinctions is key because no matter where you go in your career, you're going to see it. As long as you work in IT, JSON will be part of your daily work life. Whether you're building APIs, configuring cloud services, or analyzing logs, JSON is the invisible thread connecting every piece of modern infrastructure. So, if you remember one thing from this video, remember this: JSON is not just a file format, it is a language that corporate systems use to talk to each other. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.